If you would like to have an accessibility copy of tonight's meeting, there are hard copies around, and if you don't have a hard copy or don't need a hard copy, but just like to see it on your phone, you should be able to scan the QR code that's there, and it will take you to this. We ask most of these pieces are not published, so keep these in confidence and don't put them on the internet. But we're happy if you enjoy them. These photos that you're seeing toward the end are relevant to our first piece tonight. So this is Minnie and Jared, aka Barry. Okay. Hi, I am Dr. Lamar Wilson, one of the faculty members in the low residency program here, and I'm great honor this week of participating with 7 wonderful artists who have decided to unpack this idea of performance and move beyond what we traditionally think is only available for the famous guys and the famous ladies who are professionals at this, and to figure out how to inhabit our own words and embody them and feel comfortable delivering them however we appear in the world, whether that's through our soft and inside voice or screaming and screaming to the rafters. And you're going to see the range of that tonight. We will begin with one of our members who has to be with us virtually tonight, Teresa Nicholas.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Nicholas. I've been part of the program since 2021. And I'm here to read a story for you tonight along with 2 poems. The story is called The Dog's Tale, and I wrote it 2 years ago at Dr. Brandon Wilson's workshop. Poems will follow. A Dog's Tale. I don't care what King said. Dogs have a good life. I should. My husband, Barry, and I are dog people. Both of us badly wanted a dog. And it wasn't because we were a middle-aged childless couple seeking an outlet for our ardent parental instincts. We were happily married, despite my little crush on a guy I sat next to in my province class. So, while on vacation in Santa Galleria in Mexico, Mary ran across the photo, the small, pretty dog, on a very famous website. The dog's white hair matted in ribs, her face frozen with a stunning expression. He thought, here's the couple I've been testing out with searching for. When we went to fetch her from the shelter, Minnie, 51% poodle, with lesser parts all tease, shepherd, and pit bull, trotted back and forth like a miniature rocking horse on moving rollers. She's a perfect small dog. Look at the cute way she moves, Barry said. It hadn't occurred to me that he might fall instantly in love with the dog. Then he looked at Barry and pulled her lips back and untied his snarl. She was instantly in love with him too, by studying the beat. What do you mean perfect? After all, she was a mutt, practically the Mexican street dog. Her raggedy furred richest tail, and her old lady owner around died. Minnie was abandoned in a woman's backyard, where she grew thin and nervous, afraid of the hot air balloons that passed over each morning and the fireworks that went on at all hours. I don't know the besides, Kerri said. The dog sidled over to him and presented her a rump, glancing back as if to say, pet in there. Minnie had certainly cleaned up well in her dreadlock days. She looked fetching, with biscuit-colored fur and an elongated body and tight-finger legs. Her waist had a seductive top, and a plume-like tail cascaded over her hind parts like a broad string. Her liquid black eyes looked human, with large irises, the same chocolate color as her pupils. She had a black velvet nose, and when she moved her ears forward, she resembled a canine Doris Day. Isn't she, well, just so pretty? And her eyes are freaky, Mary said, still aggressive the dog's backside, while Minnie gazed up at Lily. Wait, she's trying to talk. She is. What the fuck? Get off it. Watch your language better, please. Wow. Feel this, he said, ignoring me. He placed my palm on one of the treatments on top of Willie's head. I stroked her fur. Soft, so soft as the grave in a forest in Maine. The poodle bumble said that exaggerated hospitals means the dog has whiskey. I let my hand go. I guess we should go. Minnie lifted the corners of her mouth and showed us her toothy smile again. I cringed. Could she ever love me, or would she be strictly a guy's dog? The helper at the shelter had been married in slippage. She's all yours, he said. On the plane ride back to the States, Minnie escaped her mesh and fabric carrying case and worried would zip her open with her nose. After scrambling to Mary's lap, she sat up white like a child. The steward let her stay, drawing from the same mesmerizing effect on him that she had on every other male. Kavorka, Mary called it. Like me, Mary is a business writer who works from home. He bought plush doll beds for every week, but during the day, and he would only sleep in his office. He assembled a metal plate from the temper-feeding mattress he placed next to his side of our bed, where she slept at night. It was my family's ornamental preference for the dog over me that really hurt. My worst humiliation took place at a dinner with my 90-year-old Aunt Lilybell. Standing in her kitchen, she said, "Come here, Minnie, you're a good dog." Then she pointed to me, whispered to her son, "Who is that person?" It wasn't that I didn't love Minnie, despite the accolades she received. Minnie remained humble, asking for permission before jumping on any bed or sofa. She reminded me of my uncomplaining mother. She had the same neat disposition, the same big brown eyes, the same lumpy white hair. I imagined that she was my mother, reincarnated, but over time, and jealousy of the dog grew. One day, I overtook Mary in the laundry room, chatting with me, the fine Western used exclusively for her. "Come here, pumpkin." "Hey, that's my nickname," I said. Mary shrugged. He switched to calling pumpkin pie spice. And Mary and our bed of maple began to discuss clothing week for $50,000 and a trip to Texas. I snapped. I noticed the first change in the shower. My forearms had sprouted wispy white fur. At nightfall, my fingernails took the shape of tiny claws. It was a little painful when the two claws came in, but I noted with pride that, unlike me, I also had no front legs. And when I grew on them, mine was bigger. That's what Mary said in the measurement of the Lord. Do I just being human? No, though sometimes I worry that I look like a person in a dog suit, like Hannah in the 50s TV production of Peter Pan. but I've no regrets, despite my listening. The changeover to candidates who live in areas to improve my marriage. In fact, most people were nicer to me. These days, the married comes home with still a lot of talks meeting, but he stops calling it pumpkin. He yells, "Where is him?" I mean, ungrammatical English and uses with me now, and I try to yell back, "Over here," and it comes out all wrong. In my office, he sits in my desk chair and lifts me up on his lap. My furry legs magical. He kisses the top of my head, right on the hospital. How did your writing go to bed? Sippity pepper, I'll say, and close my laptop. Limited it. That's how I sound to myself when I talk. Those very, I'm giving and marking. I know you speak English, you can get more than it says, having my big belly. I see it in your eyes. I stare up at them. I'm trying to say, love my dog, love me, but to bear it, I think we can bark again. These are the ordinary days. And lying beside them as you sleep or try to, while many nestles at your feet, finding bad dog means full of yips, barks, and howls. Your quiet portrays death, your defeat. 2 cancers in 2 months. November, prostate. January, lymphoma. Buy yourself a lottery ticket, jokes are new oncologist. She means both are indolent, slow to grow and kill. Lazy cancers, always the optimist. You don't believe either will end your life. Now your breath comes faint and light. Minutes rapid, full of sighs. In the distance, silence. Always silence in the Jackson night. And hear the freight trains in the railroad yard, the murderous trucks in the interstate, and the light of the owl calls parade. I want to remember the ordinary days. Silent beauty. The silent beauty of the flower pot atop the stone. A worm robin drops from the sky. The magnolia blossom that dies in a day. Put down the poetry book. Stare out the bedroom window toward the garden. Watch the late sun break through the long-legged lines of the crepe myrtles, backlighting the purple panels. Now comes the rain, gentle and stronger. Observe the slanting, persistent rains illuminating big, dark drops. You have been lucky. Don't forget to remember all the luck we had before. We never counted it. It seemed it would go on forever. You never thought about it then. You saw only the beginnings of things, not the endings. And now, don't forget to notice just one thing. At least one thing, June, and through the window of summer in the garden. Be glad. Lie against the plump pillows and behind the daybed. Rest your head. You are right to be optimistic. Sometimes there is love and no love. There and there. Thank you.
Rest of the evening.
Hello, I'm Callie Tolman, and I started the program in the fall of 2024. I'm gonna read two pieces for you this evening. I welcome you to sing along if you know the song or in bird calls. This is a directional piece, north, south, east, west, across the United States. Migration patterns. Left of center, Utah. Reluctantly, I emerge. The confines of my position is comforting. The doctor says, let's wait and see. Then I'm forced from my warm liquid space a month past my delivery date. A cup that I did not feel brought me into consciousness, and gravity's force allowed my 10-pound body to arrive safely into 12 hands. The fourth and final child, I am born on the migration path, joining my 3 siblings. My mother chooses happiness and relocates. I am 3. My father cons his cons and will visit us potentially. All the way west, California. Sunshine and waves in the city of LA, bubble suits and swimming lessons. Devils and ghosts hide in the hills behind the school. Kids run the streets until the dim lamps show us the way home. We are welfare, and paper bills paid at the register, cast shame. The Hulk is dating my mom. He's feeling scared, but we like him. We move and move and move around the Southern California blue. She leaves him and chooses another who meets her. She stays, creating an unbreakable bond, unlike her face. Blood flows from my nose too many times. Allergies. And she worries. North, Central California. I told someone a secret and the police came. They paraded us away, my sisters away, while all the kids and teachers dropped. Many nights in the safe house, we are divided, a home for children with secrets. I am still alive, my first decade onward. East, Utah. We are listed in a father I hardly know. I'm surrounded by steep mountains in the valley of the Great Salt Lake where I was. He teaches us to be ladies, and I forged documents in palaces with seedy underground mafia ties, his bodyguards, and surrounded by women. Is it for the money? He is godlike. I am scared of the dark and in my sleepless nights, I cower at his bedside, afraid to get too close. He gives us money to show us love. We are young and we become materialistic. I learned to smoke and I have free reign. It is the 1980s. East, all the way, Georgia. Land that seems flat, I cannot see the horizon. I am a rebel and I cannot be moved, so I am sent to my mother and him, the abuser. It is a new place with heat like I've never known before, and sweet lingering syllables in the tongues of these strangers. I go to schools that still divide by color. The African American girls send me away to make white friends first, but they were looking after me. and the kids don't know where Utah is, I am exotic. They approach and I make friends. West, U-turns, Utah, nestled in the foothills of the Great Salt Lake Valley. A trip to a funeral brings us here. I'm left behind in this place to spend time with my father, who is never there. I learned to shoplift and play the Ouija board that tells my future. Someone's moving the planchette, but it's not me. My father is rarely around. He chooses to live with his girlfriend in another town, but we are cared for in small ways, and he appears when needed, staying a few days. I don't mind missing him. That's how I know him. East, like a seesaw, Georgia. In the tree-covered grounds, my orientation is lost. A delinquent and unruly, barely a teen. I am sent here to be watched closely. I got a job and I learned to take care of people and their food in a barbecue restaurant with the best Brunswick stew, cooked each night with smoke from the pit and lingering creepiness from Larry, the owner. Then I bop around a shiny diner, listening to classics like "In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight." And making shakes and sodas. I am a sodager. Skills are gained and my body likes the movement. Is this a calling? West, lower this time. New Mexico. New Mexico. Open and flat valley is skirted by one towering mountain to the east, and distantly by a volcano that has been worn away by time. The spices of this land seep into every meal, red or grayling as hands flatten, fat and flour to create beautiful pillows of dough called tortillas. To scoop up every mouthful. Guns and bullets zip past my head at lunchtime. Crips and Bloods fill the land. The gang violence is out of hand. I shine the sill of my window each night to meet my boyfriend under the stars. My sister's bellies enlarge with new life, and they mourn the loss of their teenage minds in the 1990s. I learned to be a second parent to these little ones, catching them in my hands while I walked down the aisle for graduation. I learned to pay bills after our parents move away. We get our first apartment, a one-bedroom slum, where no one walks after dark behind the caravan bar, unless you walk the streets like I always did. The Blue Hour. Thick, fat, fog. Tree skeletons materialize. The haze is eerie. Traffic clangers, big trucks roar. The pulsating shrieks are deafening. Workers, these busy bees, blue-collar minorities. Our bodies heavy, weighed down, grounded in reality. Coffee on the breath. Morning birds twittering. Chickadee, chickadee. They all know where they're going. But I am lost. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Armstrong, and this is the end of my time with the W. I will be defending my thesis next week. And this has been a very transformative program for me. So this poem that I wrote kind of reflects the transformation I've gone through in my life. And it is called Who Am I? Who am I? Daughter of a rebellious teenager. 90s raised me on reruns and rage. Elder boomers tried to parent me with alcohol and cigarettes. Who am I? A body too young, touch too early. Silence choked down between episodes of and unbelieved when I spoke my truth. Dropped, erased. Too much to deal with, thrown away for speaking it, for speaking it up. I learned to flinch before I learned to read. I knew how to beer run before I knew how to ride a bike. To be small in doorways, to say sorry when I was the one leading. I was the good girl, quiet one. She's so alive. With her hands folded like locked doors. But my face carried the echo of mom's whiplash rage. I learned to bolt doors, to hide away siblings, to be a shield against stepdad's fist as they chased silence into split lips. They named me things. Bossy, bitchy, people pleaser, too loud, too quiet, too much, not enough. They called me worse. Can't laugh right, can't read right. Freak, black sheep, rude, attention whore, petty, liar. They wanted to fix me. Try harder. Try less. You make everybody else look bad. Spineless, dreamer, teacher's pet, know-it-all, stupid, trailer park trash. Labels aimed like bullets, and everyone landed. I swallowed them whole, let them stick in my gut, built a personality out of broken glass and escapism. I survive. Bucket. I excel. Who am I? A reflection of an angry teenage mom. A millennial forged in the wrong decade. A mimic, a mirror, a girl who read everything so she could rewrite herself. Who am I? Undiagnosed, autistic, ADHD, not broken, just misfiled, not defective, just unread. I masked until I forgot my own face, laughed on cue, made eye contact, like a ghost. Learn to act normal, to survive the room. But masking is camouflage that costs your skin. I've earned the right to breathe without pretending. I am done paying to be palatable. Who am I? Bossy, and I own it. Bitchy, and you know it. Freak with flavor. Petty with precision. Black sheep with a backbone. Call me stupid. I hold degrees. You had none. Call me trash. I composted every insult and grew roots in the dark. I am not what they made me in their pain. That was my choice. I am what I built from the wreckage. I did that. I glowed in places I was supposed to wither. I grew in darkness and became luminescent. Who am I? Unmasked, unapologetic, unstoppable. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexis Jemal. I've been in the program since the summer of 2023. This is a poem, well, actually it's not a poem, titled, I do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. My words escape me. They are not round, bold, and saber sharp simultaneously. My words do not contain depth beyond their limits, or convey meaning that reaches the soul. My words do not hold me, or the essence of my being. My words are clunky, stomping my neurons like jazz horns, a mental stampede. I do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. Poets find words to encapsulate that which cannot be encapsulated. Capture ideas that make you feel, dig up recipes of repressed emotions, stir recollections mixed with other commotions, steal treasured memories buried so deep beneath a pile of 1,000 yesterdays. Words clink together, sounding rhythmic chimes, exploring the sunken places of people's minds. From darkest moments to glorious times, nourishing egos, high on self, as tripping on psychedelic shrooms, conjuring spirits, praying to be spared from death's outwardness, spirit guides, enchantresses, chanting shadow spells, literary concoctions, personifying potions, taking control of my mind. What is that? Hypnosis? I am not the poet, and I do not write poetry. I don't like how poets can make anything rhyme or interchange words like time for time, and it still makes sense. They find the extraordinary in the mundane, transform the ordinary into the unique. The most I know about poetry is walking my daughter home from school each afternoon, we make a haiku. I do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. I'm not that deep. Transparent vulnerability, grief manipulators, unignored epiphanies, genius impersonators, witty interpretations, poets soak in contradictions, pause and liminal spaces, bask and glimpses of hope, and rescue us from our downfalls, our self-made quicksand pits. I'm not too deep. Poets come in twos, too much for this and too much for that. I'm nothing like the great Maya or Langston or Erica Badu's, except I too am too sensitive about my shit. I am not a poet, and I do not write poetry. Great poems tell us about ourselves, and if I'm frank, well, Frank's not that observant. Great poems help us believe in the spirit of humanity. Tell us we have stardust in our bones, courage to face the great unknown, unanswered questions. And when we make a mess of our lives like a phoenix, still we rise from the ashy ruins, a transformation. Future generations, DNA codes written in the constellations, astrological signs mixed with the elements, earth, water, air, and fire, make up for imperfections. From skin flaws to wrongs, swallow apologies that come too late or not at all. I do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. Poets catch childlike wonder like lightning bugs in a jar with no air. Wait, is that right? Let's not go where my inner child has been crushed by cynicism, capitalism, and the overwhelming feeling of being rushed. Poets take their time to tell short, sweet stories. Like how my older daughter asked her little sister if she knew where unicorns live, and to my surprise and delight, without hesitation, my younger daughter said yes. I couldn't wait to hear her answer. I've always wanted to know where unicorns hide. I do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. Poets have this weird way of taking you to the edge, leave you hanging, fingertips clawing at the cliff notes of their next thoughts. But they'll circle back to discover secrets of innocence in the gallows, like unicorns live on rainbows. I am not a poet, and I do not write poetry. Poets are wise, and poems deliver gifts of wisdom, like how to resolve regrets, which I don't have, except for that one dude I slept with, and those other 2 and 4, 5, and 6 don't really count, and 7 was just the tip. So do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. Dipping the tip of my tongue in colorful metaphors that drip onto the page, painting pictures of emotions on the canvas of imagination. Most poems I hold here go over my head. I do not write poetry, and I am not a poet. Although my mind is infested with unfinished thoughts, compliments of the poem gods, strokes of genius never arrive when I'm ready, waiting, never with paper and pen in hand. Instead, ideas whisper in my ear while I'm showering. When I'm out, moisturized and fully dressed, I only see traces of dream dust left, fleeting image prints on my mindscape, fluttering through air, fanning fireflies flames, on to another, less preoccupied soul that will listen. I am not a poet, and I do not write poetry. Poets don't know what their poem is about until the end. Universal themes of human experience present the unifying thread. But I will never write a poem about you. The legendary man who poured into me, lifted me up and kept me grounded. Fencing royalty, wise, witty, crude and funny. Copied my signature line with random letters after his name, imitated my obscene number of degrees, downplaying his fame. Peter, you are a man who gave full body hugs, made everyone feel special, a real humor thug. And you never held back your love when I won or lost the game. Japanese mother, Black father, your life's journey, boy raised in the Newark projects, to man, to elder, to ancestor. 6-time fencing Olympian, your foundation, a historic legacy. As the passing of time washed over me, I asked, did you really love me? Flashbacks to reality, email you sent 2 years ago, I received 5 months after your death. One line answer, you know I loved you. I loved you too. And I'm sorry for not coming when called. Naming heartaches with a bit of self-giving grace makes me the person I am today. Outpoured emotions overflowing the page, periods do not stop the pain, assuage my anger or my guilt. Why didn't you tell me? You are my poem from blade tip to hilt. You were whoever I needed you to be. Yesterday, I was not a poet, and I did not write poetry.
Hi, I'm Kerri Rowe, and this is this past week and next week are my last adventures in the program. I'll be defending my thesis next week and hopefully survive that. So Okay, thank you. And tonight I'm going to read two poems for you. The first is titled At Bats. It's been a week, maybe two, since I've shed a few tears, since I've wiped my face, took a deep breath, and moved on to the next thing. 3 weeks, or is it 4? Since I lay silently sobbing in my husband's arms. Silent because you don't cry unless there's something worth crying about. Sobbing because there really is something worth crying about. Weeks and days of filling the void, vampiring the busy, avoiding the truth of life and death. The first couple weeks, we feverishly sort through belongings and memories, telling ourselves that it's because 5 days of bereavement is not enough to do it all, when it's really not even enough to find your breath. 2 weeks of old pictures, distant relatives, and reconciliation that you never got to see. And we laugh and tell stories and drink and pray. Arrange flowers fit for an outdoorsman with Japanese fishing floats, shotgun shells, red and white bottles, blooms the color of the flowers that you used to put on their graves, the ones you honored and loved and grieved every single day. We wear the honorary denim and plaid, kiss the urn, set you down, fill the dirt, say private eulogies. This is no place for the stain of a stranger's touch. A pattern rebuilt, honor the life lived, privacy held, keeping it close, keeping it family. Our right. We put your ashes next to hers and dash ourselves against the jagged rock of losing. And I still don't understand why you don't call me anymore. This is Fernbed, which means a longing for a place you've never been. A famous woman writer once said in an interview that her schedule included writing in the morning, then correspondence, then maybe housework. Whitman took himself off to the woods. Dickinson stayed within 4 walls. Frost fed his views on New England countrysides. I find myself in a scraping to get a scrap of time, hopes of feeling that moment when my worlds not so much collide, but meld, and the universe is exploding inside my skin, maybe fortuitously, supernova, and waves of light flow through my pen and truth burns up the page. These moments find no master in a timepiece. As they pull me from my pillow and my lover's side. And he watches from a fascinated sideline. With perhaps a little fear of this creature that I must feed with words and wood pulp, or let it quietly feed on my soul. It tries to slip me from the pocket of duty to where there is no time clock to punch in and punch out, and no counter at which to turn in whatsits for my week's pay. How does one justify their hours when the gross individual product is not measured in silver and gold, in clean rooms and tasks ticked off, but in the disillusion of the here and now, the vast lostness in dreams and other worlds. When the only measurable outcome is so many scraps of paper spread across a lifetime. So many reams and ramblings stacked in towers of wishful thinking. And I watch them all falling like snowflakes, drifting, wafting, floating like feathers in the sky.
Hi, I'm Heasley. I got me a little one here with me. I came to the W because I wanted to improve my writing. I wanted to be able to write well enough to publish. And I wanted to learn. And sure, I am learning. I have two poems. So cute. Oh, look. Aren't they cute? That old couple crossing the street. See, coming toward us. Holding hands. He focused on their destination. She enjoying sunshine. On the seconds. His grasp tightens. He helps her on the curb. She looks at him laughing. You are my cave, she said. I love you. He replied. Oh, look, see? That old couple walking away. Hand in hand. So cute. My second poem is a horse.
I read a book about a horse, a special horse, a thoroughbred, a champion, Lexington, named for his birthplace, famed for his races and for his progeny. I read about a horse who mattered more than the humans around him because they were a brown skin. So was the horse. Yet they were enslaved. Lexington the horse was famous because of these people who labored to train and sustain him. I read a book about a horse and people and a time when our country was torn apart. I read a book about a horse that people rallied around. A book about a horse. Unifier. North and South in agreement over the merits of a horse. Would that we had it now. Would that racism had died with the 13th. We are still torn apart. We're aware of our Lexington. Lexington, where are the people who carry them?
Hey everyone, my name is Lindsey. This is my third and final year in the program. Like a few others, I'm defending my thesis. And I just wanted to take a moment and say, look around you, because these people sitting in this room with you are the biggest collective of like-minded, supportive individuals that you will ever meet. Get their numbers and call them later. Like, if you need help with something, you're gonna have at least half the room offered to be your reader or your listener. Just, I very much encourage you. I've never met a program with as many supportive people as I have in this. Okay, so I will be doing two pieces tonight. My first one is a recitation, Weather Though, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. We were very tired. We were very merry. We had went back and forth all night on the ferry. It was fair and bright and smelled like an old stable. But we lay on a hilltop underneath the moon. But the whistle kept blowing and the dawn came soon. We were very tired. We were very merry. We had went back and forth all night on the ferry, and you ate an apple, and I ate a pear from a dozen of each we had walked somewhere. But the sky, it went wan and the winds became cold, and the sun rose dripping its bucket of gold. We were very tired. Very, very. We had went back and forth all night on the bed, and we played good morning, mother, to a shawl-covered head, and we bought a newspaper that neither of us read, and she wept, God bless you, for the apples and pears, and we gave all our money but our subway fares. Thank you. This next piece is called We Were Once. Piece I wrote myself, and disclaimer, I'm loud. We were once. We were Neolithic once, running in summers damp with sweat, brandishing sticks with mischievous glee. Fallen branches swung harder than needed. Rushed digits ever of regret. We played until the lightning bugs flashed their warning. Night is coming. They will whisper, spoken in code through the blinking of bioluminescent innocence. Come forth with primal yells of battle. Pink stripes with creek-fed mud upon our cheeks. Smell of plant decay and crustation mingled with the musk of sweat. And yet we wore it on our faces. Cross our hearts and hope to that sticking needle in our eye no one would be left behind. Because we were Neanderthals banging sticks into ground, warning all of those unseen monsters to stay away. We were Neolithic once. And then we were sorcerers once, dancing, chanting, golden moon hung high above our head. Around the barrel rich with rust we spun our summer life. Stoked with those fallen branches and unmowed too tall grass. We danced, dizzy and content. Our music, chime of crickets, and our beat, the joy just from you. Our winds, our melody carried, and we sang for all salvation. And the trees sway, casting spells of primal power untold, using those found feathers from birds of prey. Fossils, more ancient than bone. Snakeskin wraps under slither just outside. Demanding respect. Acorns with the potential so vast we can only dream to touch a tippy top, and so on tippy toes we stood. Magic users, enchantresses, spellcasters, witches burned at the stake. Exiles found within each other, because we were sorcerers. And then we were soldiers when they took our youth and placed cold steel in hand.
taught to march in perfect rhythm, leaving sticks and stones alone. Told what to think, do not worry. Cannon fodder just upon the horizon. Hold your fire. Whites of their eyes. But oh, worry death for the brother next to us. The sister calling out for the mother and the father wishing for safe return. We worry for each other. Pawns and again pieces pushed across the board. Barrel point. Protesters abundant. But we learned to aim our weapons true. But I saw the power of a flower placed into a barrel. Fire. And I refuse to glance the mirror, lest the real monster then be seen. Lest that real monster then be me. They say we have won. They say we have won, we have lost. Gone. Gone was the chance for the man on the bus to give up his seat. Lost was the opportunity for the girls to go to school. Gone was the rhino, the tiger, the pigeon, and the dove. Most of them were going, if not already gone. We had claimed them, paid to them, taken to them. Gone. But onward to the skies, the generals commanded. And so we built a bomb and aimed it true. They say we have won, but we have lost. Millions lay dead. They say we have won until the other side could make the same. And the bombs were falling ever closer. Not a speck of earth left. We learned the hard way of the power of a button press. Fire consumed like ravenous wolves until there was nothing left. There was nothing left. There was nothing left. Fire consumed like ravenous wolves till there's nothing left. We were soldiers. And then we were Neolithic once again.
Everybody continue to lead.